"I get that," Theodosia had said. "But what's with the rats, specifically?" "Ah," Drayton said. "With the increased populace, downtown merchants were thriving. Because they were so frantically busy, they began tossing their garbage out onto the sidewalks, which immediately attracted a huge influx of rats. The local public health officials, fearing some kind of ghastly epidemic, quickly spearheaded a rat torpedo campaign. Volunteers were tasked with wrapping poisoned bait in small folded bits of newspaper and sticking them in alleys and crawl spaces." Theodosia listened, fascinated, as Drayton continued his story. These rat torpedoes were so effective, Drayton said, that prominent society ladies even held fancy rat teas to help promote the campaign. "And the rats were eventually eradicated?" Theodosia had asked. "Charleston became a public health model," Drayton said. "Several major cities even sent representatives to study our method." The blue rat at the door was still nodding to them as Theodosia and Drayton stepped inside the foyer. Here they were greeted by a second rat, wearing a pastel pink coat. This rat was equally polite. "Good afternoon," Pink Rat said. "I feel like I've been drinking to excess," Theodosia said, "seeing pink rats instead of pink elephants." "This way, please," Pink Rat said to them in carefully modulated tones. They followed him down a long, red-tiled hallway, where oil paintings dark with crackle glaze hung on the walls, and the hum of conversation grew louder with each step they took. Then Pink Rat turned suddenly and ushered them into an enormous sunlit parlor, where 50 or so guests milled about, and a half a dozen elegant tea tables were carefully arranged. Pink Rat consulted his clipboard. "Miss Browning, Mr. Connolly, you are both to be seated at table 6. "Thank you," Drayton said. "Do I know you?" Theodosia asked Pink Rat. Her blue eyes sparkled with curiosity, and her voice was slightly teasing. She was a woman of rare and fair beauty, even though she'd be the first to pooh-pooh anyone who told her so. But with her masses of auburn hair, English rose complexion, and captivating smile, she certainly stood out in a crowd. "I don't think so, ma'am," Pink Rat said, as he spun on the heels of his buckle boots and hastened off to escort another group of guests to their table. "Who was that?" Theodosia asked, as her eyes skittered around the rather grand room, taking in the crystal chandelier, enormous marble fireplace, gaggle of upscale-looking guests, as well as tea tables, set with Wedgwood china and Reed and Barton silver. He sounded so familiar. The rat guy, I mean. "No idea," Drayton said, as he regarded the table settings. "But isn't this lovely? And what fun to stage a madcap homage to the rat teas of yesteryear." Drayton was beginning to rhapsodize, one of the most endearing qualities of this debonair 60-something tea sommelier, while Theodosia was suddenly fizzing with curiosity. Why had she been invited, when she just had a nodding acquaintance with Doreen Briggs? And who were these white rat butlers, anyway? Professional servers, shanghaied from a local catering company? Or actors who'd been hired to wear costumes and play-act a rather bizarre role? These were the kind of things Theodosia wondered about. These were the things that kept her brain whirring at night, when she should have been fast asleep. "Drayton!" an excited voice shrilled. Theodosia and Drayton turned to find Doreen Briggs closing on them like a 5-foot, 2-inch heat-seeking missile. She charged up to Drayton, rose on tiptoes to administer a profusion